A, B, C, D. Oh, sorry, didn't see you there. I'm Walter Benasiak, and this is Top 5. Today and next week, we're covering the actor that you've probably been waiting for the most since we started this show. No, not him yet. I'm talking about Nicolas Cage. One note before we get started, if you're looking for last week's Top 5, it's over on VidMe because of copyright issues here, so make sure you go and check out the Top 5 best Undertaker matches. Now, this man is one magnificent bastard. Nicolas Cage has ascended beyond that of a mere actor or celebrity. Nicolas Cage is on a level all his own. Nicolas Cage is a state of mind, man! While it's easy to point out his boisterous, loud, baffling, and straight-up strange performances, let's not forget that Mr. Cage is one hell of a thespian. He's not an Oscar winner for nothing. Cage has some extraordinary roles to his name, and before we delve into the bizarre jungle of Cage's worst next week, today, we're counting down his top 5 best performances. E-F-G-H-I-J-K-L-M-N. Number 5, Hi McDonough in Raising Arizona. This Coen Brothers production is an early example of Cage's quirky range. It contains the signature style of a Coen Brothers comedy while really letting its star spread his wings in a few scenes. Ex-con Hi and ex-cop Ed often see each other while Hi is being booked at the police station. Eventually, they fall in love and marry. Soon, however, the newlyweds find out they can't have children. Inconsolable, they become desperate enough to steal a baby from a family who just had Quince. Genuinely caring for and raising the child is their intent, but a reward is put out and several people come for the baby, including Hi's recently escaped prison friends and a dangerous bounty hunter. Holly Hunter is in this movie. You know what that means.
Today is a day for truth.
Cage is his weird self in this 1987 effort, but his character is given some really nice depth. As we hear his narration, he's a bit rough around the edges, but can be very warm and sincere. There's no shortage of physical comedy in this film, as Cage shows off how funny he can be in that regard. He also works very well off his co-star.
I love him so much.
I know you do, honey.
I love him so much.
I know you do.
It's an early role that helped establish his eccentricities while showing off what he could do with this type of unusual character. With Moonstruck hitting theaters that same year, the young Cage was just getting started. Number 4, David Spritz in The Weatherman. I really enjoyed this movie. It's a side of Cage we've seen before, but he's presented in a way that made his performance feel fresh. A Chicago weatherman named David Spritz has a successful career but a very unhappy personal life. He's divorced from his wife, his kids barely speak to him, his father is sick, and people constantly throw food at him. When a national weatherman job opens up in New York, David is seriously considered for the position. Now he has to decide if repairing his family life is more important than furthering his career, or if they go hand in hand. This movie features Michael Caine doing an American accent, and it sounds really weird.
Jackson lives with your wife and kids. What is a frosting? Are you aware of that?
What?
That her colleagues call her camel toe.
Living close to Chicago, I always love seeing it represented on screen, and especially in the wintertime. This movie has some great cinematography, which sets a sort of melancholy mood. Cage's character is a guy who's very much at a crossroads in his life. He often reflects on the mistakes he's made while trying to find the best course of action for himself and his estranged family going forward. We get to join him on that journey of self-rediscovery while connecting with his flaws and triumphs, no matter how small.
And all the possibilities I faced, and the sorts of people I could be, all of them got reduced every year to fewer and fewer, until finally they got reduced to one. To who I am.
We see David try to reconnect with his family, including his daughter, which is very difficult for the both of them. When we see a little glimmer of a connection, it feels earned.
You look great. You look all grown up. Okay, change. Let's get some more.
Really?
Sure, and then we'll go show Pop-Pop some of this stuff.
David's relationship with his father is something I also really liked here. Their chemistry is very offbeat, sometimes almost too much, but the arc these two go through is very engrossing to watch.
Don't die yet, Robert. Give me time to get it together. Give me a little while. Let me get the Hello America job. I can get it together.
The movie's tone allows for a mix of funny but simultaneously sad moments that come off very poignant.
I have to go see my kids! You put fucking pie shit on my coat! I have to see my kids with pie on me, man! Go see your kids with shit on you! Calm down, man! I have to see my family!
Ultimately, The Weatherman is about accepting one's situation because that's life. However, that doesn't mean you have to look at it in a negative way. Most of the time, we accomplish a lot more than we think we do just by pushing forward and living life. Cage embodied that inner struggle in a very relatable way, and I think it's a performance that you should see. Number 3, Roy Waller in Matchstick Men. So, I loved this movie. I loved almost everything about it. Based on Eric Garcia's novel of the same name, Roy and his partner Frank are con artists who are very good at what they do. As Roy's prominent OCD starts to worsen, he finds his long-lost daughter, Angela, and with his new medication, his symptoms start to subside. When Angela shows interest in entering the family business, Roy struggles with keeping his daughter innocent to his con man crimes or bonding with her. As all of this is happening, a big job involving a businessman is a large enough scam to potentially be dangerous. Before I get into Cage's performance, I want to say, go watch this movie. Ridley Scott directed it, and I could not recommend it more. Cage's signature acting style can obviously be peculiar at times. Here, that all works because his character has OCD and he can twitch out to his heart's desire.
Ever heard of a line?
Hey, have you ever been dragged to the sidewalk and beat until you
Pissed blood!
While that works on the surface, what really makes this a top 3 performance is his sincerity in his relationship with his daughter. Man, this is an incredibly believable pair. Alison Lohman and Cage's chemistry leaps off the screen, and every stage of their development as father and daughter is enthralling. It ranges from heartbreaking to pure joy and back several times over.
Nice to meet you, Dad.
Nice to meet you, Dad. That is wrong what you did, and you're a nosy Parker. Go. Yeah, and don't ever call me again, okay? Don't.
Matchstick Men is a heist film with real stakes and one of the strongest heartbeats I've seen in a movie like this. Cage is just so good in it. My advice would be not to look up too much else about it. Just go into it as fresh as you can. It's probably my favorite movie on this list. Number 2, Charlie and Donald Kaufman in Adaptation. Cage was nominated for his performance here, and he plays 2 brothers who are very different. Partially based on Susan Orlean's book, The Orchid Thief, Adaptation follows screenwriter Charlie Kaufman as he struggles to adapt said book into a screenplay. Charlie often feels inadequate, and his self-loathing point of view negatively affects his day-to-day life. With his brother Donald living with him, events begin to show parallels to Susan Orlean herself as both writers look to find true passion in their lives. Lives that slowly start to become intertwined. The best parts of this movie feature Cage just talking to himself.
See, I was kidding, Donald. Oh, okay. Sorry. You got me. Do you mind if I use it, though? You can't be a goofball. You can't be an asshole. I'm not an asshole.
Cage is very different here. It's been reported that he ignored all his instincts and totally trusted director Spike Jonze on how to play both characters. It turned out pretty well for him, as this performance sticks out in a good way from most of his other work. He successfully makes the viewer feel extremely uncomfortable in a few scenes that have us pity him.
I'm going up to Santa Barbara this Saturday for an orchid show, and I...
Oh,
I'm sorry.
well,
In a profound moment, we get a great little monologue from Donald that teaches Charlie and the audience an important, honest lesson.
You are what you love, not what loves you. That's what I decided a long time ago.
The movie blurs the line between fiction and reality. My professors used it a lot in my film education classes to show examples of writing a unique screenplay and presenting layered storytelling. While Cage didn't win the Academy Award for these roles, it's absolutely one of his best performances and just missed out on the top spot. This was not an easy list to construct. Nick Cage has a lot of strong performances. So, before we get to number 1, here are a couple honorable mentions. And the #1 best Nicolas Cage performance is Ben Sanderson in Leaving Las Vegas. Cage won the 1996 Academy Award for Best Actor in a Leading Role for this performance. It's a powerhouse portrayal about a man who finds a little bit of comfort at his absolute lowest low. Adapted from the novel by John O'Brien, Leaving Las Vegas sees hopeless alcoholic Ben move from LA to Las Vegas, where he intends to drink himself to death. However, once arriving, he begins an unconventional relationship with a prostitute named Sarah, and together they find acceptance and comfort in each other. But this doesn't stop Ben's desperate drinking, which eventually begins to threaten the unique pair's connection. This is quite possibly the most uncomfortable movie I've had to watch for this show. Cage plays a man who has decided to end his life in a slow, sad way. He's scarily believable as his character is shown going from bad to worse, even as something positive comes into his life.
You can never ask me to stop drinking. Do you understand?
This downward spiral is raw and feels very authentic. What makes things even more disheartening is that hope is within reach, but he doesn't latch onto it in a way that improves his situation.
I'll tell you right now, I'm in love with you. But be that as it may, I am not here to force my twisted soul into your life.
While both he and his new companion Sarah are self-destructive, Ben is clearly worse off, as the scenes with her trying to take care of him just come off as pathetic. It's a downer of a movie, but it features Cage at his most real, and it's no wonder this was his most lauded performance. Check it out if you can handle a very dark, grounded story. There you have it. Nick Cage is legitimately awesome. He's a very, very talented guy and can still pull out a great performance when he wants to. These were his best in my opinion, but somehow I think I'm going to have a tougher time next week. I want to hear what you guys think. What is your favorite Nicolas Cage movie and or performance? What do you want me to cover next in the show? Leave a comment and let me know. For more content, subscribe to my personal channel, youtube.com/awesomewalter, and follow me on Twitter to take part in more polls about what I may cover in the future. Come back next week when we jump back into the Cage to find his worst performances. QRSTUVWXY.
Nicolas Cage, and I was in Lords of War. Not the Bees. Another movie I was in, I think it was called Ghost Rider, and I played my brother or something or other. I was really fat in that, but I really think I...